Yes, it is working. Hello. Welcome, everybody. So my name is Dawn Campbell, as usual, your host for these weekly Wednesday sessions. And I'm from the IAPC&M. And this session, in case you've just stumbled across it, is Ask Us Anything About Accreditation, and indeed the coaching and mentoring industry. Now, for those of you who enjoy a cuppa, and just listening in to a random conversation to see who I've got as a guest each week, you're very welcome. In the hot seat today is Dr. Bill Price. Hello, Bill. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you, Dawn. What a privilege to be with
Good.
you and everybody that's listening and watching.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're live streaming on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. So yeah, we never quite know who's going to be listening, but my lovely VA, Gillian, is on the mobile and she will keep us posted of any questions that you want to ask us. So just to set the scene for anybody who's just sort of randomly come across this, I know we have our followers who like to just tune in and eavesdrop over a cuppa in their break. You might have stumbled across this and think, what's accreditation? You know, maybe you are in the coaching or mentoring profession and accreditation has passed you by because it's an unregulated market. And you're wondering, how is it going to help you reach an international audience? How is it going to help you attract higher paying clients and so on? Then stay tuned. Or maybe you're a member of the public and you're looking for a coach or mentor to support you with your personal or professional goals. Now, I know it's been, what, 5 weeks since we set our New Year's resolutions, and they were kind of almost forgotten 3 weeks ago. Statistically, we've let them all go, but you'll still have personal and professional goals to achieve in 2024. And somebody like Bill is ideally placed to help you with that, particularly as he's a mindset specialist, very steeped in neuroscience. Maybe, again, like Bill, you're a training provider. You're training the next generation of great coaches, and you're wanting to know how will accreditation differentiate your training offering from somebody else's and how it's going to help you fill seats. So that's kind of the audience that we have, Bill. We occasionally get questions, but more often than we just get comments like, oh, that was really interesting. I didn't know such and such. So let me introduce Bill to you properly. Bill and I have known each other for about a year. He's based in South Africa. He is the Executive Neuroscience Master Global Coach and Facilitator and Strategist for VIP, International Executive Coaching and Mentoring in Excellence. So, and I think you're an author as well, aren't you, Bill?
I have written published articles more than I have books.
Okay.
So
okay, I couldn't remember.
I can't brag about books I've written, but there are 2 in the way.
Yeah, I can see you read a lot of books.
Absolutely.
You've got a wall of books behind you.
That's why I can't write a damn one, because I'm busy reading everybody else's.
Yeah, and in a way, you'd be frightened about plagiarism. Where did I get that quote or that idea? So yeah,
Yep.
just carry on reading. I like to start these sessions, if I may, Bill, just by asking you, what is it that fills your heart with joy outside of work? Because it's very easy for us in this profession to say, oh, our work is our joy, we love helping people, etc. But we also need downtime and to tap into our creativity and nurture ourselves. So what do you do that fills your heart with joy outside work, Bill?
So Dawn, Estelle and I, my lovely wife, we've been married for 51 years. Can you believe it? So we must give her the medals. So she is my lighthouse. She's my sense of centering. She's constantly adding value in my life. So what we enjoy doing is just having dialogues, what we call dialogues or conversations, where we listen quite intensely to each other. And we use an imago principle of reflective listening, so we mirror back. But just being together, the 2 of us, we love going out, having snack meals. We love walking around the lake close to us. We love our grandchildren immensely. And whenever my grandsons are playing their basketball matches, then we're the ones who are shouting at the ref going, where the dickens did you get your license to blow that whistle? But so we love movies. I enjoy reading. I don't enjoy novels, and I'd rather one day talk to a whole lot of people. They can tell me their stories than read through a 2,000-page book about someone else's life. Interesting, but wonderful. And yeah, I love swimming, gymming, and yeah, just enjoying a red wine. I love red wine. Relaxing with that. And then in South Africa, we have barbecues. So we have many of those. My son is an avid barbecue. So he'll, what we call, braai the meat. And he does it with absolute expert precision. So I sit back, drink wine, and he sorts out the meat for us, which is exciting. So I love adventure, outside, hiking, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I put my fingers in my ear for a minute because I'm a diehard vegan. But of course, you can have other things on a barbecue as opposed to
Yes,
meat.
no, I mean we do. We have a lot of vegetables. Two of my granddaughters, they are vegetarians. My son told me the other day while we were preparing meat for the barbecue, he said, "Dad, I've become a vegetarian." I said, "It's impossible. Look what you've put on the fire." He said, "No, I eat vegetarians."
Very good. Yeah, I don't think I've heard that one before, but I quite like it. I'll have to remember that. So apart from the fact that I don't drink red wine and I don't go to the gym, I can concur with a lot of what you've said. I love hiking. Like you, I'm an avid reader, but not of novels. I'm always reading something like Tibetan Buddhist philosophy or
that's what
anything self-development type. Which my husband says to me at night, "Can't you read something for fun?" And I said, "No, I'm enjoying this." But there's so many great books out there, so many classics, and so little time. But I got my grown-up phone, a Samsung, 2 years ago after a house fire, and we lost a lot of books and CDs. And so it has changed things for me, Bill, because I've now got a Kindle, I've got a grown-up phone with Spotify, so I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I've noticed I read a lot less. So I'm reading the Stoics meditations and daily journal at the moment. I've always got lots of different books on the go, and a great book on decision intelligence selling. So I don't read novels, I just don't have time for them. But yeah, podcasts I absolutely love. So hence I enjoy doing this call as well.
Yeah. So it's fun because I think that while we're talking, I mean, they can switch on an app and it can transcribe what we're talking and turn it into a document or whatever. But in a podcast and in a live webinar situation, you are in touch with other criteria other than just a word on a page. So the brain, when you read a word on a page, you go into auditory mode. It's the sound of the word is the sound of your voice. And then you read the word, and quickly the intelligences work together. There's 13 of them, and they work together and they'll turn the word into a word that has meaning. But we don't get the depth of meaning that we get when we listen to people speaking, because then there's the emotive intelligence that comes into it. We hear slight variations in the tone, momentum, pacing, timing, speed that goes with it, diction. All of that adds, I'd say, greater value than trying to read a book. Reading a book is you just go into auditory mode and into analytical thinking or systemic thinking. But when it also depends on what kind of book you're reading. So if you're reading a book about meditation or written by the Buddhist monks, which I love, then you go into a pondering mode, and then you're wondering. Your mind goes into a secondary shift that goes, let me ask some questions to myself while I'm reading. And
that's interesting.
yeah, so it's very interesting how the neurology works when we are working with books, just reading them, listening to podcasts and people, and of course, I always told my minister he's the most boring person to listen to because he's so monologue. And I'm going, I'll dare to watch a video, but I won't visit often.
Yeah, I guess, although I don't understand the neuroscience, I can't even pretend to understand a fraction of it compared to you, Dr. Bill. But I guess it's the same reason why at the end of a masterclass, I invite everybody to write down their CPD learning from that. So they've just listened to it. They've got the physicality of writing it. They can see what they've written and then they feed it back. So there's an accountability. It's all connected, but I don't really understand the neuroscience as to why in the way that you've just described it.
Yeah, so neuroscience basically is just that where we tend to think that we're a single band or wavelength, there's a multiplicity that's taking place. So so the world of our neuroplasticity, it's where we think, where we create energy, where we create thoughts, where we create questions, where we create feelings, and eventually make a decision to create an action, and then have the response of whatever the action I'm taking. There's always the consequence, and then it's responding to that consequence that makes a soul feel alive in our neurobiology. So it's a rabbi mentored me, and he was a psychologist. I was going through a burnout time, just come through it as a leader, went through a hell of a crucible experience, and it wasn't a very pleasant burnout experience for me, but landed up with him, and it was like a godsend. He just started mentoring me, and he said to me, "You must go and study neuroscience." So behind me over there is a brain, and little pink and blue and orange brain, standing next to a statue of a couple dancing. And so dancing is my metaphor in life. Estelle and I, our whole relationship is about dancing. And so sometimes we do jive and rock and roll and tango and cha-cha-cha, and sometimes it's just a slow waltz. So we pick up each other's momentum to be able to go, how are we going to dance? There's leading and there's following. And so sometimes I'm following Estelle, sometimes she's following me, but we're both in this together for the purpose of enjoyment. So that's the purpose of that metaphor. And then when I studied neuroscience, the rabbi said to me, you need to study so that you could understand some of the mysteries of and the secrets of the universe and the glory of the universe. And I must say that in the few years that I've been involved in studying neuroscience and now neuroplasticity and introducing that into coaching, it's a wonderful experience for me to watch the human brain in action rather than guess what's the next box of personality that's showing up. So it's opened up an amazing array, almost like a rainbow for me, and dimensional for me to help to understand where words come from and how they are formed, and to use that within the coaching environment, and people get to understand themselves better and I become a better coach because I learn to ask questions in a different and more succinct way.
Fascinating. If anybody's listening to this and thinks, wow, I want to know more, you're lucky because Bill was one of our guest speakers on the 17th of January for International Mentoring Day, gave a great masterclass. I know hundreds of people have downloaded that on the various internet platforms. So that's still available. So if you can't find it, just contact me and I'll make sure you get a copy of that hour-long masterclass. And I'm sure Bill will do more for us in the future. I understand the analogy. I think that's a really good one. And the dancing, in a slightly different sense, I use it because we travel a lot around Europe in the motorhome. And I tend to think that people in motorhomes, because there's a small space, they learn to dance around each other physically and mentally. And that you have to have a good relationship to be in such a confined space for, the longest we did it was 7 months. So I like that dancing analogy, and we go to dance classes as well, literally. So dance classes, as you say, the tango, the waltz, whatever, very important. So you got into this because there was a catalyst, and the catalyst was burnout. And now I could just sense your energy and passion for this subject, and it permeates your coaching and your training. So where would be a good place for somebody to start who's new to this? I picked up Bruce Lipman's book, Biology of Belief. I can't say I understand all of it. I find some of it very interesting, but is that maybe a bit heavy, and there's a better book for somebody to understand this?
I think, yeah, it is a bit heavy. My advice to people who are on the pathway of life, here's a few things that I've discovered in my journey. In the beginning, I started off as a teacher, a lecturer in a mining college, and then from there tried my luck, so to speak, to follow my dad's footsteps, who was a fire chief, and I went into the fire brigade, and that really didn't work for me at all. And then I moved into the world of relational psychology and a bit of industrial psychology, and then into human resources. So I was a human resources manager or director for an international company that had a footprint in the 32 English-speaking countries in Africa. And my job was I designed a leadership development process and profile, and began to work with leaders from all walks of life, all stations of life. And what I started off as consulting became coaching. And I've got the belief that your future kind of unpacks itself toward you as you're walking. So very few people achieve career goals in their life if they just stand still. I think it's important that you enjoy doing what you're doing, and you do it with all of your heart and gusto and energy and passion. And as you go, interests evolve and transform, and we begin to understand more about ourselves, and the journey becomes a little bit more minimalistic. So where it was filled with so many rules and regulations of psychiatry and psychology and all of that, it became minimalistic to go. And the biggest change for me from psychology to coaching was that I found more results happening, because coaching was result orientated, whereas in psychological therapy and counseling, etc., you are trying to find out a lot about how it happened and where did it start. And your father took a teddy bear when you were 4 years old and flushed it down the toilet, and ever since then you've had allergy for woolen underwear. And so it's like, okay, so now that you know that, what the heck, where do you go from there? And so I loved moving into the coaching and mentoring realm, because it was more toward my style. So if I've psychological profiles, and I've had hundreds of them done, I'm activator, I'm encourager, and the more I start understanding myself, that's what I build into my style of coaching. It's automatic. So when I coach, you get my passion, you get my energy, you get my deepest respect, my ethics and my code of conduct come to play. And I started off with a coaching course that was off the shelf, etc. And it was a beginning for me, but then I just realized I hunger for quality, I hunger for excellence, I hunger for professionalism, and I hunger for doing a good job. And it was that then shifted me to go, okay, now I need to look at a coaching course that's not just recognized, but a coaching course that has accreditation linked to it, because that was going to add to my brand. And indeed it has. Over all the years, whenever I've gone into a company and they've asked, please send us your CV, the first two things is they look at your experience, and then they look at your qualification, where did it come from, and then they look at, are you a responsible, ethical coach that belongs to a accreditation body or a professional body? And I have obtained many contracts over large organization companies that have put in the same quote, and I've won the quote simply because of the fact I tipped them at the post in terms of accreditation, in terms of supervision, in terms of my life is coaching, and I'm open to ongoing learning. I'm never stopping learning in any particular way. And so to me, it's an ongoing journey. And the moment you're on it, it becomes a delight to follow. And that's basically how I discovered my coaching journey to unfold. And so I moved with coaching hours from an ordinary credential coach to a senior coach. COMENSA, the South African professional coaching body, if you've done 150 hours, then you're a level 1 credential coach. If you've done 750 hours of logged coaching, then you are a senior credential member. And if you've done over 2,000, then you become a master coach. So yeah, I became a master coach pretty early in life and then just built up the hours. So it's now been nearly 3 decades, and I've can humbly say that there's around about 36,000 logged hours. Wow. And those hours are not just hours, they are experiential reference. And that's what I love to tell coaches, that your coaching hour with a person is where you learn as well. It's where they transmit information your way, and you're going, I didn't know that. Wow. That's a unique way of paying attention to it, and so you learn about nuance of thinking, and you get enriched by the way you create the space in which people walk into that space as a coach and a client. And so accreditation has been a hallmark for me. It's a hallmark. I train coaches, and I'm busy registering for accreditation with your wonderful organization to give our coaches the opportunity to have international accreditation. So there's a wide world out there, and there's a world that is waiting for people who are credible, who are ethical, who are passionate, and who are engaged to come alongside and absolutely be transparent and go, this I know, this I don't. But please give you an opportunity to try and refine it and research it, but I'll get back to you. And if I can't get back, if I do get back to you and tell you I still can't, then that's what it is. And but it's the art of transparency and the art of clarity and focus and just being yourself. And the backdrop is accreditation. The backdrop is your coaching knowledge. The backdrop is your code of ethics and your belief in integrity, etc. And however you're wanting to define that, it has a million definitions. But coaching, for me, the passion about it is because I'm helping people. CEOs tell me I become their thinking partner. They're no longer lonely. even although they've got a board that they report to, and even although they've got an executive that they work with, they have someone that they can go, listen here, I'd like to burp in your presence and not feel bad about it. And I'd like to tell you about some of the fears that I have and not feel unsafe. And so as coaches, we offer more than just a style. We offer more than just a model. We offer more than just qualification. We offer a deep sense of respectful connection for everyone. And we become their thinking partner. We become their guide, their motivator, their trampoline on which they can bounce ideas, their co-product developer, their sage. And that's what I love about the multiplicity of the multidisciplinary aspect of coaching and mentoring. And of course, that it's a structure.
It's a very equal, it's a very equal relationship as well.
Yes.
I've been having conversations about what does it mean from an embodied perspective to be a coach. For a lot of people, they don't understand. They put their coaching hat on because they've got a coaching client at 2:00. That is not what it means to be a coach. And I think you've summed it up beautifully there, Bill, that it is a real philosophy. It's a way of life. It's an embodied experience. You're feeling you're equal in this partnership. You're not superior to your clients. They're not looking up to you. And it's so rewarding.
Absolutely. The reality that I find, look, I in the beginning stages of coaching, I can tell you, I walked around with a file similar to this, and I'd have 4 A4 pages with questions. Then I learned I had a printer, and then I printed the damn questions. And while the person is talking, I'm like looking to the left to go, please, dear God, help me to find the next question. Because I thought that coaching is questioning, but it's not. It's what the coach does with the answer.
Exactly.
And how the coach orchestrates that answer into the next wonderful discovery and into the next dimension and into the next. So it's like you're going into this museum, and it's like you start off on the bottom floor and then you eventually ending up on the top floor, but you've gone through so many disciplines, you've gone through so many interesting spaces, you've gone through history of the person, you've gone into their biology and their physical well-being, you've gone into their mental thinking state, you've gone into their chemistry world with neuroplasticity, because your brain creates chemistry, and it creates genes, and so it's amazing. And in the beginning, you start off with a model and you like stick to it. I can only do the grow model. And I grind that grow model until the G is as flat as a pancake and the R is as straight as a pin. But the grow model, it's not about the model. It's about meeting in between. It's about, so I always hope to try and tell my clients, I want you to know, number one, you're very important to me. I share that unapologetically. You are very important to me. You need to know that when your number goes onto my WhatsApp, you can contact me, and here's my code. When you use the word urgent, I'll contact you immediately after my next session, the session that I'm busy with. You'll immediately get it. So when you say urgent, then I know it's urgent. But don't let me catch you out that you're always saying urgent, that everything is urgent, because then I'll have another coaching session with you and go, not everything is urgent. And then important, I'll get to you at the end of the day, etc. Not only are you important to me, but your agenda is my agenda. So I come there and I don't have I have a philosophy. I have a process, because I'm the process expert, but the person I'm coaching is the content expert. So let's dance together with that, and let's learn to trust each other. And we shift from trust and rapport to connection. And that happens as they dance with each other. And so it's
Yes.
almost like a sliding scale. Down here, I'm a young coach. Over here, I'm a master coach. So here, I'm not worried about too many models. I am the model. The question is the model. I'm using it lightly. But here's a lot of
Yeah.
inquiry, a lot of connection. We're down here, it's, oh my goodness, what's the next question for R? And what's the next question
Yeah.
for G and W?
Yeah, and I
So
think
you
that
grow.
absolutely
Yeah.
floors new coaches, Bill. And
Yeah.
I hold my hand up. I was like you, the top 50 coaching questions online, learnt them off by heart, and almost waiting for the client to pause to find the next question so that it appeared like I knew lots of tools, because that's what I often say we're like plumbers. Our questions are our tools. But actually, over the years, I've explained to the students that I've mentored, you don't need very many questions. You just listen, and your next question will evolve from whatever they've said, and you just
Yeah.
go in flow with the client. It's their agenda. Absolutely. I'm just checking my phone to see if Gillian's got any questions for us. And also, I'm conscious of the time. Bill, you and I could talk to you all day long, but our half an hour is already up. I think we're going to have to do a YouTube video so we can spend more time together.
Not a problem at all.
What was I going to say? Oh, you sparked off something, but it's gone now.
About
I'll
maturity, you spoke about young coaches.
Yeah, young coaches. It was something I think around another mistake that young coaches make is that they focus on the problem as opposed to the person. And you were just describing, the chemistry, the biology, everything, knowing the person. And I think that's why it's important to move away from the traditional top 50 coaching questions to perhaps more transpersonal coaching questions. So you're
Yeah,
coaching person, their interests, and then looking for commonality as to, if you're really good at that, how could that help you with this? And you don't focus on the problem, because when you focus on the problem, you end up kind of putting a magnifier on it and making them potentially feel even worse.
correct.
But anyway, as I say, I'm conscious of time. Um, uh, so you are pending your highest level, the accredited fellow coach and mentor of the IAPC&M, and your course will be going through accreditation as well, which is very exciting for anybody. I mean, this will be even for our existing members who are experienced coaches, for those who want to go deeper and understand how the mind works, our own mind as well as the client's mind, so that we can get better results. You're going to want to tune in and listen to more of that. But right now, what is the best place for people to contact you, Bill? And what's your next offering that people can look out for, please?
So my next offering is a masterclass, and they can contact me via email, and it's quite simple. You'll see the name there on the bottom left-hand corner, bill.price, and you just add @me.com. So it's an Apple address, bill.price@me.com, not Dr. Bill, just plain Bill. Bill.price@me.com. You can catch up with me on LinkedIn. I'm there. And we also are instituting our inauguration of a platform called Mentoring Me. And that's a place where tribes get together. So coaches will be one tribe, where you will be mentored and coached in being your exceptional version. So the subline heading of Mentoring Me is from good to great to excellent to exponential. And because we're not using our full potential, and no one really knows what that is and what it means when you are. But when we believe that we can, we do, and we do increase. So I'm hoping to add value to the coaching world We're busy with an app that's very exciting, and we want to make that available to coaches to really help them exceed and excel.
Excellent. That sounds wonderful. So we've got a ready-made audience. When it's ready, you can send us a promo and we'll send all the members there.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure. And thank you very much for being such a very interesting host. I love the way that you excited me to get to answers. I love that. You have a very natural way of getting people to go and explore with excitement. And it's a privilege for me to have experienced that. Thank you, Dawn.
Oh, you're very welcome, Bill. All I can say is it's genuine in curiosity and enthusiasm for listening to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh,
Thank you
it's a
so
pleasure.
much.
Well, we've come to the end of our time, and there's been no questions, but sometimes we get questions during the week. They'll drop something into the chat box on any of the social media platforms. If anybody has a question, I can direct it to Bill because I have his email address. But as I say, you can find out more by logging on to the IAPC&M website blog, or you can contact us for a copy of the mentoring masterclass that Bill did for us in January. So thank you, everybody, for listening in and tuning in over a cuppa. I hope that was as interesting for you as it was for me. I'll see you same time again next week with another interesting guest. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.